Hi, everybody. I'm Liz Walker, and welcome to another episode of From the Heart. From the Heart, of course, is part of the Can We Talk Network, a community, a healing community that's growing across the country that is focused on healing trauma, grief, pain, and loss. And there is so much of that these days. If you needed urgent emotional or mental support, where would you turn? Well, you may or may not know that Massachusetts has behavioral health urgent care available for you. What is that exactly? We've asked two representatives to explain it to us because it's a huge and beautiful cutting edge concept. So we welcome to From the Heart Kara Macomber and Kate Hildreth-Fortin. I hope I pronounced those names correctly. Welcome, ladies. It's good to see you
Thank
both.
you.
You too, Reverend Liz.
You know, this seems like the perfect solution for what's going on around the country. I always say we're in a mental health crisis. And it's kind of similar to our Can We Talk model, which is kind of abiding, being there for you if you need us. But let's talk about urgent care. How do you define urgent behavioral health?
Well, really, if someone feels their need is urgent, then it's urgent, right? Like if someone's struggling, I think we can all probably come up with a different definition. But if I'm feeling a certain way and I feel like I need to talk now, then I need to talk now and it's urgent. For other people, they might want to be more planful and talk to someone in a week or two, right? So in Massachusetts, we really have developed a system that between our behavioral health helpline and our community behavioral health centers, people can call, people can walk in and have these conversations and really determine what their need is. And if it's urgent, then they can be seen that same day or the next day, if that's what works for them.
So and this is your Kara, right? I always get confused. Please forgive me. Kara or Kate?
Oh,
I'm Kate.
Kate. Okay, Kate, thank you very much for getting us started in the conversation. But there must be some kind of criteria generally. Kara, is there, or
yes.
is,
So thanks so much. So what I can do is sort of talk a little bit about the behavioral health helpline. Just to let everybody know, the BHHL, as I can refer to it as we talk, is a service of the Department of Mental Health, and it's operated by the Massachusetts Behavioral Health Partnership. So really, what the helpline, the BHHL, is here to do is to connect residents to that full range of mental health and substance use treatment services across the state. And that is for outpatient, that is for urgent, and that is for crisis care. Additionally, we also do help connect people to resources within the community as well. So some points that we could share about that is that we like to say the BHHL is viewed as a virtual front door. And again, it's virtual for accessing that range of mental health and substance use services. So really, for anyone to access the line, you can call or text, or you could go to our website and you could access the chat feature. Both the line and the chat are available 24/7 every day of the year. It's important to note that the BHHL is free and it's available to anyone in Massachusetts. There is no insurance needed to contact the BHHL. And a goal of ours is that we are available and accessible to everyone. We have translation services in over 200 languages, and we have resources for the deaf and hard of hearing. So I could kind of keep talking. So to say, who could call? Well, you could call for yourself, or you could actually call for someone else. We have so many of our calls that really might come from a loved one. It could be a concerned parent. It could be a clinician, school personnel, really anyone in the community that's calling about resources, again, for someone needing help or support. And, you talked about defining urgent, what that looks like. So when somebody calls into the helpline, our mental health professionals are here to provide support to really any crisis situation. Again, if defined as an urgent need or that routine connection to services. So what they do when somebody calls in, they'll talk, collaborate with the person, and they'll do a risk assessment to really identify, what is that treatment option that they're needing at that moment. And they'll work to identify what that treatment pathway looks like. And so, really, if like we talked about, what defines a routine need? Well, a routine need might just be that someone.
Well, let me stop you because you are giving us a lot of input. You're, you're doing an amazing job. No, 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 and please forgive me if that seemed
No,
rude,
not
but
at all.
I wanted to break down some of what you are
Sure.
saying. First of all, you both have said it's kind of what it means to you. You define what your Has it always been that way in the mental health system? Because I don't think so, but that may be me. Has it always been you define what urgent is for you? And I'll
No,
ask.
because I think part of the reason these services came about, which they're, this is considered the behavioral health roadmap in Massachusetts. And, what happened prior to the launch in 2023 was, hundreds, I think like 700 people were interviewed across the state. And really there were some commonalities about, what was lacking. And one, people using emergency departments for behavioral health needs, people being, stuck in EDs waiting for placements in higher level of care. Often things had to get to a crisis in order to get that more immediate treatment.
Mhm.
Um, and this very much was created to get people in the front door quickly, not be sitting on a wait list for an outpatient therapist or psychiatry for months and months and months. Because what happened during those months is you get worse and worse and worse, right? So that's where we say, like, you really define it. Because some people, they're offered an urgent appointment and they might say, like, no, I want to wait, right? I need to get myself prepared. I need a couple weeks to figure that out. So it's really driven by the person in need. And of course, the risk assessment and stuff. If someone's at
Sure.
risk, we want to get them right in the front doors as soon as possible.
And I wanted to bring that up with you too, because I want people to know how special this is, because this is not necessarily the way it's always been. And I'm going to venture to guess it's not like this all over the country, or are there these kinds of services everywhere? And I'll ask you that, Cara or Kate.
I can't say everywhere, but there are other states. I mean, I think Arizona has a pretty robust system. I mean, Massachusetts, one of the things that we always have is we have been ahead of the curve on many of these things. So I can't speak specifically to all states, but no, there is still a great need, across the country for more robust behavioral health
Yeah,
services.
I always put Massachusetts at the head of everything, so we're always leading the way.
Right.
What kind of issues are you seeing in communities? And this question I'm asking both of you. Cara, do you want to take this one?
Sure. I mean, what we're doing at the helpline is that, we're always following the trends that we're seeing for the state and national level, right? So, the helpline is always here and prepared to meet the needs of the people of the Commonwealth, depending on what's going on with the climate. But there is always, depending on age range and demographic, like it could be anxiety, depression, and that really again does depend on what the need is or what someone's looking for. People do call in, and a lot of what could be driving a mental health crisis could be that they've lost their job and they're worried about how they're going to put food on the table. So then again, through conversation and collaboration, there may be the connection to the resources in the community, connecting to a food bank. And one of the nice things about the helpline, whether you're looking for a connection to outpatient treatment or again a resource, we're always going to do a warm handoff. So we're always going to make a connection. Should that person on the phone want to, we'll call with them, because we know that can also be daunting to make those calls on your own. So really we just try to help meet the person where they're at in that moment.
I love that. That is so, to me, so necessary and so kind of like not what we usually, sadly, not what some of us think of a system. Usually we think of a system as a structure and you have to fit into this line, and if you don't fit in this line, you're out of luck. But you are kind of is that kind of new too, or is that always the way you guys have operated?
It's always the way the BHHL has, started, and the mission and the goals of how they wanted to work to help the people of Massachusetts when they were to call in.
I think, though, that's a great point, because on the community behavioral health centers, which is one of the physical front doors of this system that, our behavioral health helpline might refer someone to, if they have an urgent or crisis or routine need, that's where like the treatment happens. And I think that was designed to do exactly what you're saying, right? We've always tried to put people into traditional therapy, a therapist, maybe a psychiatrist if they need medications. And this system really has peer supports and nursing supports and case management, and really combining mental health and substance use so people can come to one place and get, all of those needs met. So we're trying, right? We need to see whole people and figure out, it's hard to address my depression if I don't have food on my table or a roof over my head. So that's why, the behavioral health helpline does all those resources. And then the treatment, we really try to make person-centered to really meet the needs of the person.
I love that. I love that. We're talking kind of about two arms. One is the helpline, which
Yep.
is 24/7, and that number is up now. So we are letting people know that they can call that number. And then the clinic that you can actually make. You have to make an appointment, or you can just come into the clinic.
No, the community behavioral health centers are also open access. So the outpatient, like the clinic side, we'll call it, that's like one component, and that operates Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And then even on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, 9 to 5. So that's very different in the outpatient world, right? To have something with such robust hours.
Yeah.
But then they also have the crisis component and this is all for both youth and adults. The crisis component operates 24/7. So people can access the community health behavioral health centers 24 hours a day. And then, if they're seen in crisis and they might need like a voluntary 24-hour level of care, they can also, access that through the supports at the CBHC. So it's really to, again, help people from crisis to urgent to more routine care get where they need to go.
Right. What kind of demographics do you see? All kinds, or do you see basically?
Oh yeah. Yep. I mean, it's all ages, all genders, all races, they are required to, be able to provide services in the language someone needs. So through, interpreter services, just like they do on the behavioral health helpline. And they really try to, there's 27 community behavioral health centers across the Commonwealth. And they really try to, like some of the services, like say the groups they offer, they really try to offer those based on what they're seeing as a need in their community, right? So that they have a lot of folks coming in, and trauma's a need. They might be running trauma groups. If they're seeing a lot of kids where school avoidance is an issue, then maybe they're doing groups on that. So, really trying to meet the need of the community, which makes sense, but will vary by community.
Kara, from what you've heard and from what you know, are people like a little hesitant at first? How do they first kind of connect to your services?
Well, it's interesting. You would almost think where the text and chat option are there in today's society, that would be the highest way people are connecting. But actually, call is still the number one method that people are calling into the helpline to get that connection. It's funny at present. I think text and chat are tied for the same, but that's great because again, you talk about people feeling comfortable. So you want to feel comfortable reaching out to try to get the mental health or substance use care that you need. And if that's through a text, then that option is there. If that's through the chat online, then that option is there. So we really try to make it as easy as possible for people to reach out and get connected to us.
That's good. So I promised you both that I wasn't going to blindside you, but I do have a question that you don't know I have. It's not going to blindside you, but what brought you, each of you, to this kind of work? Everybody is not drawn to this kind of work. I think I always say you're called to this, that it's a higher power or a higher belief or a kind of work for the common good. Can you tell me a little bit, each of you, about your own stories of getting into this work?
Sure, Kate, do you want to go first?
You want me to
Or?
go first?
Whoever wants to start, Kate?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm actually from Massachusetts, and I always wanted to be a social worker, but I really didn't know what that meant really, or what I wanted to do. And I'm from a very small town, but I went to undergrad and I went right on to grad school, and I got out and I went to a job fair, and I got hired to do crisis work, which if I had known what it was, I probably would have been more intimidated. But that was in 2000. And for 19 years, I was with the same company and did mobile crisis. I was a clinician, a supervisor, director. There was something about, seeing people at their worst and helping them get to that maybe first step in recovery or treatment that I loved. And then for the last 6 years, I moved on to this side where I still get to work really closely with the mobile crisis teams and the community behavioral health centers in a different way. But it's just my passion. I feel like, everyone should have opportunities to get treatment they need and live their best lives. And so, here I am 20 something years later.
Wow. Wow. Do you ever get so, and I'll ask you both this, but for you, Kate, do you ever get so overwhelmed that you think, God, I can't do this anymore?
No, I've never gotten to that point. I mean, obviously sometimes there's frustrations mostly around like barriers, right? Like I just want everybody to be able to walk through the door. And that's one of the things about this system is like there's, it's really trying to take down the barriers of insurance and those kind of things and really saying like it's a come one, come all. Like if you're in need, come and get the treatment you need. And people then may move on to other places to get treatment, but they can come in urgently, be seen, and then get connected as they want. For some people that looks like, I just want to see a therapist once a week. I don't want any of the other stuff. And for other people, they have, intense needs. They have many needs and they really need that tight wraparound service. So I love to see that Massachusetts just keeps growing and investing in what people need.
Yeah. How about you, Kara? What brought you into this work?
Well, similarly to Kate, I'm a social worker as well. I also grew up here in Massachusetts, went to undergrad here, went to grad school here. So, being a social worker, I got to work with so many different populations, the aging population, seeing all the different facets that they go through, group work with adults with mental health and substance use. I really think the number one thing for me that really drew me to this work is that I think I'm a connector. I love connecting people to anything, whether that's services, whether it's something they need, whether it's an introduction to someone. And I think, Kate, you could probably say that too. It's probably the theme of a social worker. We want to help bring people to the places that they need to get the help that they need or the supports that they need. Knowing, again, actually in line with what Kate was saying, is that there really is never one size that fits all for everybody. So knowing that there's different options out there, different ways that people can get connected and get the help that they need. That's what I love about, educating people in the Commonwealth about the helpline and promoting the work that's being done is just, really hoping that people know that we're here and we exist and that, there is not one size fits all. And, really there's no wrong door, we like to say, or there's no wrong reason to call us. So I'm a connector, I guess. That's what brought me here.
That's great. And you don't sound like you ever get overwhelmed, do you?
I mean, in life or in this work?
No. And the work, which is your life. Yeah.
Where are we taking this show? So, I mean, I think it's all about just the techniques we learn throughout our life and our job role, right? Like, do you get overwhelmed? I mean, I don't think it's overwhelming. It's how you look at a situation, how you ground yourself, and how you just work to help each other, again, get the resources and services that we all need, whether it's a colleague internally or, again, somebody in the community.
Right. I always keep an eye out for what you probably call secondary trauma. If you hear enough, and there is so much, well, let me ask you both this. I see from my perspective, and this could be because I get overwhelmed sometimes, that we are in a mental health crisis, I believe, based on what I see at work in our Can We Talk program and reading the newspaper. Do you guys see it that way, or do you think it's just, business as usual? And that's what I mean by being overwhelmed.
No, it's definitely overwhelming. And there's just so much going on, right? And people are just struggling in so many ways. And it can be tough to keep pushing day after day sometimes.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to victimize either of you, but
Yeah, no.
you
And
know,
you have to have that self-care, right? You have to take care of yourself, because if we empty our own batteries, then
yeah.
we're not able to help anybody else.
And that's where I think I was leading
Yeah.
on how do you both take, and I know this is a little personal, but I think when I humanize, when I know that I'm talking to two humans, not two
Yeah.
robots or bots or whatever they say, I don't know the language, that you have a better understanding of what I'm going through. So that's all I'm asking. How do
Yeah.
you ladies take care of yourselves? Any tips for us on that, on just basic self-care day to day?
Sure. I think,
Yeah.
oh,
I mean, I think, go ahead,
I
Kara.
was going to say,
I'm
I
sorry,
mean,
and I'm not.
no, I mean, self-care is as simple as honestly putting on your favorite music and listening to it, going for a walk, simple as standing outside, even though the weather's cold, but possibly even feeling the sun on your face on those warmer days that we may have. Self-care really can be found in so many different ways. Talking to a friend, I could go on and on. Those are some things that actually work really well for me. But Kate, I'll let you jump in.
No, I agree. I think you hit them all, but I do think the other thing, and this is something I had to learn, starting a career young, I had to learn is having a work-life balance is very, very important. And shutting that computer off, walking away at the end of the day, and then being present for family, whatever that means. For me, it's, I love going to my son's sporting events, and supporting him. And knowing that won't last forever, right? Because they grew up so fast. And so um really, I mean, I prioritize family. I have a large family and we do a lot together. So that's another big piece of self-care for me.
Right, right. Thank you, because those tips both help us. So whatever we need to do to take good care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Before I end
But I
this,
think also, I just want to add, like, I think also, like, it's okay to not feel okay, right? It's okay to need extra time. It's okay in a job to use your PTO if you need to, because you need some time. Like, we all need to take care of our own physical and mental health, right? I mean, again, I don't think we can do well helping others if we don't help ourselves and show others, right? We need to model for others. I need to model for my child that you need to take care of yourself.
that's great. Cara, did you want to add to
I
that?
mean, I could, but she really summed up everything so perfectly. Even talking about family and putting family first. I mean, you really did, Kate. You said everything perfectly, and I shared those sentiments. They're good reminders
No,
for all of us when things do get overwhelming to take that step back, to
absolutely.
turn our computer off, to just be present in the moment with the people we love, whoever that looks like.
What gives you guys hope as you do your work? What gives you overall hope in this mental health field? Cara, do you want to
Sure.
take that one
Well, what
first?
gives me hope, and I know this may sound cliche, but knowing that there's services like this, the helpline, the community behavioral health centers, the behavioral health urgent cares, knowing that we're talking about mental health, that, we're trying to really decrease the stigma surrounding it. So I love that like conversations like this are happening and that we're able to just talk more openly and freely about ways to get connected to services if we need them. That's what gives me hope.
Right. Kate?
I mean, I love everything Kara said, and I would add, I think one of the things that just always strikes me is how our youth seem to really not stigmatize mental health. They seem to much more openly outreach for help. I mean, I see them outreach sometimes even without parents, just to try to talk and figure out. But just seeing the stigma, like, kind of decrease. It's not gone. It's still there. It gives me hope that Massachusetts invests in these wonderful services for people, and that we care about getting people the help they need, ideally as quickly as they can. um, so yeah, those are a couple of the things.
Well, you both represent the behavioral health institutions in Massachusetts quite well, and we
Thank
thank
you.
you for being there. Why don't we repeat what these services are? So let's talk about the helpline first, and Kara, I'll go to you because you can do that. Just briefly, just tell us that the helpline is. We have the number hopefully that's on the screen right now. And that's 24/7, right?
Yep. So, I mean, quickly, I can just say like a few takeaways. Remember that the helpline's a free clinical resource for everyone in Massachusetts. We do help to connect people to that full range of treatment services for mental health and any substance use needs. Again, we are here for any real-time, immediate crisis intervention, urgent or routine needs. And always, I like to say, remember, there is no wrong reason to call, and you can call for yourself or you can call for someone else that's looking on behalf of someone else who's looking for services or resources.
Okay, no wrong reasons
No
to
wrong.
call. Kate, would you like to add to that to talk about the clinical side of this or the clinics?
Yeah, the community behavioral health centers are also available 24 hours a day. And folks, again, no wrong door to get there. You can call, you can walk in, you can call the behavioral health helpline. The one thing I always like to impress upon people is you don't need to know what it is you're looking for.
Mhm.
You call, someone answers the phone, and you should be able to talk through kind of what's going on and what might be helpful for you in determining, is this an urgent need? Is it a crisis need? Is it routine? So again, community behavioral health centers are that physical location that provide the outpatient clinic service, plus mobile crisis, plus crisis stabilization. We have 27 of them across the Commonwealth, so every city and town is sort of connected to one. And again, 24 hours a day, you can access that. I also want to put in a plug because we also do have behavioral health urgent care, and those are outpatient clinics, more of your traditional like therapy and psychiatry, but they also have some expanded hours. They're not quite like the open access like community behavioral health centers, but people can call and get appointments and get seen within a couple days as well. So I always like to say that because it's another option for getting some outpatient treatment. That is for Mass Health members. So the CBHCs are a little bit more expansive as far as insurance and stuff. But anybody in crisis, even if they're not like seen at the community behavioral health center, can receive that service in crisis. So if a parent's concerned about their child, the school's concerned, an adult calling on their own, police in the Commonwealth can drop people off at community behavioral health centers, which is amazing. And again, like all of this is to get people into the care and also to avoid emergency rooms for behavioral health needs, right? We want people seen in their community in a timely manner to be able to get connected to the services they need.
You both have done an amazing job, and I want to thank you again. And the number we're going to leave up for you. So there is help available for you whenever you need anything. You can make a call, and that can connect you to all kinds of resources and help and support in this Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Kara Macomber and Kate Hildreth-Fortin, again, thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, God bless.